Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into a really powerful theological essay by Mark Mountjoy called On Being Christians. It gets right to the heart of what it means to live out the Christian faith, and it makes this argument that our modern idea of a solo spiritual journey is totally at odds with how it was all designed to work.
So let's dive right in with this really strong metaphor that's right at the center of the whole argument. It's simple, it's visual, and honestly, it sets the stage for everything else we're going to talk about. You see, the essay kicks off by challenging an idea that's super common today. Can a Christian really fly solo? I mean, in our individualistic world, having a private, personal faith sounds pretty good, right? But the author, Mountjoy, says, hold on, that might be a dangerous illusion.
Think about it like this. You take a single ember out of a campfire. What happens? It doesn't just glow a little less brightly, it immediately starts to die. It gets cooler, it gets dimmer, and before long it's just a piece of cold charcoal. But the fire is the community. It's bright, it's hot, it's intensely alive. The point is super clear. Isolation leads to spiritual death, while being together in community is what creates and sustains real living faith.
And listen, this isn't just saying that going it alone is harder. The argument here is that the whole concept of a solo Christian is just completely missing from the Bible. It's not that it's a bad idea, it's that it's a category the New Testament doesn't even seem to imagine exists. So, that brings us to this big promise you hear about all the time, the abundant life. The essay argues that we tend to read that as some kind of personal achievement award, but maybe we've been getting it wrong. See, it's not about you hitting some new level of personal spiritual success. The author's point is that when we treat abundant life like it's a prize we win by ourselves, we're actually chasing a ghost, something the New Testament never really offered in the first place. Instead, it's shown as something that grows out of the structure of a real active community. It's not just a warm feeling inside or having all your beliefs lined up perfectly. It's a living thing that you can only unpack together through being responsible for each other and growing together. Okay, so if community is the whole structure, how does it actually work? Well, the author pulls in this fantastic idea from biology to explain the mechanics of it all, symbiosis. And pay close attention to the words here, requires and become fully. This isn't just about being nice to each other. It's this deep mutual need where you literally cannot become the person you are made to be without other people, and they can't without you. You can see how this works, right? It's a constant give and take. It's this engine that's always running. You're giving, you're receiving, you're helping carry something, you're being helped. It's a system designed to complete us in a way we could never, ever do on our own. Okay, this is where the argument gets really sharp. Because this choice, to be part of that symbiotic community or to try and go it alone, it's not just about what you prefer. It has huge, real-world consequences for your future. To prove this point, the essay brings up the story of Israel's very first king, Saul. It's this incredibly dramatic moment where the prophet Samuel tells him what could have been his future. God made a genuine offer, an enduring dynasty, but there were conditions. So here you have it, two futures side by side. The factual future was what God actually wanted to give. It was the real deal. But the counterfactual future, that's what became reality because Saul didn't follow through. He lost the blessing, and a future God never wanted for him is the one that actually happened. And the crucial point is that this isn't just some dusty old story. It's presented as a living template for us, right now. We're all standing at a similar crossroads, with a factual future of blessing being offered. And our choices, especially about whether we commit to community, are what determine which future we actually get. This idea of two futures leads right into this next concept, which is basically a spiritual law. It explains why doing nothing is never neutral. In this system, if you're standing still, you're actually going backwards. The author points to this famous quote from Jesus and calls it the law of spiritual compounding. And the idea isn't that it's a threat, it's just a description of how things are built to work. It's a principle that works in two opposite directions. So, on one hand, when you're actively engaged, it builds on itself. It's like compound interest. It just generates more and more life. But on the other hand, just sitting back, being isolated, doing nothing, that's not neutral. It starts a slow, quiet process of decay, where even the little bit of faith you thought you had starts to fade away. And the essay gives a specific modern-day example of this. It points to certain theological communities where faith becomes all about just agreeing on ideas about the past. And what the author says happens is that without that active shared life, The actual faith just quietly drains away, even if everyone still agrees on the doctrine.
So why does that happen? Well, the theological reason given is really profound. The essay points to the book of 1 John in the New Testament, which basically says that God's presence is kept alive through active love between people. So when a community is just about ideas and that active relational love dries up, it's like a pipe gets clogged. The flow of the Spirit is blocked, and that living sense of God just fades.
All right, so if being isolated and just doing nothing are the big dangers, what's the answer? Well, the essay doesn't just point out the problem. It offers a really constructive idea for what a healthy, vibrant community actually looks like.
The author calls this a high-stasis community. And don't let the word stasis fool you. It doesn't mean standing still. It means your normal, everyday, resting state as a group is one where real work, real relationships, and real results are just normal. It's the baseline.
And the main thing here is getting visible results. We're talking about a community where people can actually come back and say, hey, I tried to do this thing and here's what happened. The needle is actually moving. It takes faith out of the realm of private feelings and into a shared journey you can actually see and talk about. And this just ties it all together so well. You can see how these three big ideas are braided into one. The community is the place where it all happens. Symbiosis is the engine, that give and take dynamic. And completion, that's the result. People actually becoming who they were meant to be, together.
And so the whole thing leaves us with this final, really challenging question. It takes all these big concepts, the ember and the fire, the two futures, that law of compounding, and it aims them right at us. The genuine offer of that abundant shared life is still there. So the question is, are we doing what it takes to make that our real future? Is your needle moving?